Okay, Boomer.
What's going on, guys?
That was hilarious.
Was that intro clutch? I love that, man.
love
Welcome
awesome.
to the first inaugural Boomer Council, boys.
What's
Glad
that?
to be here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that we were the old couple. I love that, man.
Did you
so
not
good.
see me as a pilot, man? I was like
I
98
did.
years old.
Mhm.
I just like that I'm holding a banana.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, the thumbnail for that was named Crazy Old Man Holding Banana.
Yes.
I was like, that's perfect. That captures him perfectly.
Yes. Well, I broke
What's
out.
going on, chat? How's everybody
I
doing?
broke out my old X-wing Squadron Resistance T-shirt.
No way.
Nice.
Just for you.
Nice. Oh, that's killer. Oh, we got Boba over there on
Yeah.
Darth Daddio.
Christmas.
And I'm
Boba.
wearing the same shirt I have been wearing for 4 weeks straight. Have not washed it yet.
I bet that smells
What's
awesome.
going on, chat? How's everybody doing?
Is that like
Dude, it
playoff
smells
socks?
great, honestly, and it's nice and cool here in Nevada, so it's been good. Okay,
Man.
so we have a plan tonight for the Boomer Council. Not a Mike Boom Council, the Boomer Council. We're going to be talking about some things. We're going to roll this. I added a banner so everybody knew what we were talking about. We're going to go through some of our favorite moments, characters, things like that. It's going to get into some juicy stuff a little bit later, and then we'll start doing some drop-ins towards the end there. So anything you guys want to shout out before we start here?
I'd say we just go.
Go for it.
Go for
I mean,
it.
I guess we'll go right to left.
Cool.
Favorite Star Wars moment? Darth Daddio, what do you got, man?
Yeah. So thinking about this, man, I think my favorite Star Wars moment has to be in Return of the Jedi when Luke and Vader are fighting in front of Palpatine, and when Luke just goes ham. He just goes crazy and just overhead swinging, like abandons all technique and ends up cutting off his dad's hand. And I love how, like, we just watched it the other week, so it's so fresh in my mind, but when he cuts off his dad's hand, and then he looks at his own hand and then decides to toss aside his lightsaber and all of that. Man, I just thought that was so crazy to see Luke's restraint right there, and to see him resisting the dark side, saying, I'm not going down this path. And it was really cool, especially when I think it's cool when he sees like the wires and the robotic nature of his dad's hand. And I bet it was
foreshadowing in there.
Yeah. So I think this was really hard. I'll say my number 2, maybe this is a weird one. My number 2 is actually in Clone Wars when Savage Opress finds Maul, and Maul's just out of his mind. Maul's one of my favorite characters, and so like to just see him like that, I'm like, that is exactly how he should be after what he went through. Maybe that's not like gonna make a top 10 list, but for me that's like my runner-up.
So you mean with all the with the long horns and the crab legs?
Yep.
That Maul.
Yeah, and when he's like cackling and like muttering to himself and starting to, yell Kenobi, all that.
Losing his mind.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I liked seeing that. Yeah. It sounds weird saying I liked seeing his suffering, but
But that's part
It's impactful.
But that's a part of him, though. I mean, that's part of what makes him the character he is, even in Rebels, even years later, is that he's very similar to that craziness level, just with a little more control, right? Like when he was in the dumpster, he was literally tossed aside like a piece of trash. No one even knew. Maybe Sidious knew. Maybe Sidious felt that.
Yes, yeah. Sidious picked him up from his mom.
No. I mean, when after he got cut in half.
Oh yeah.
I'm if Palpatine and Sidious was so powerful, I'm sure he could feel and sense the death of his apprentice, and I'm sure he knew he was suffering because, of course, if he's feeling his suffering through the dark side, but did he know he was alive all those years? That he was in the.
Have you gotten to that part of the book yet?
I'm just saying that from Clone Wars because we saw
okay.
Clone Wars. So and if that's in the book, I'm sure I'll catch that in Plagueis.
It's certainly talked about.
But I mean, if I feel like that is a very similar Maul to the Maul walking through the desert, searching for Kenobi on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
That same strand of
Right.
sanity always lives with him.
And that scene's good too. Man, maybe I'll have a second runner-up.
Well, see, that was going to be my favorite scene.
Oh,
It
yeah?
doesn't even have my favorite
Nice.
characters in it, so to speak. So for me, obviously Vader, Ahsoka, those are my two probably favorites, and Vader pre-suit, so the 5 minutes that he wasn't in a suit with all the extra limbs. But for me, it's that Kenobi Maul scene where he sends Ezra away by the campfire.
Right.
That for me is the most impactful moment of all of Star Wars, is that in that moment Kenobi knew his opponent better than his opponent knew himself. And he knew that Maul had to, he knew that day was coming eventually. But to know your opponent so well to the point where you're willing to hold them as they die, right? That, for me, that is the definition of Jedi.
Well, and when he's laying in his arms and he says he will avenge us, I thought that was so heavy, because it's like he's moved past the Sith and the Jedi and everything to acknowledging the real grand plan. I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, and that, I mean, it gives, as silly as it is, it gives me goosebumps talking about it, because Kenobi, that moment when Maul realizes when he gets slashed, and the cool thing is you don't even see him get cut in half. You don't see the markings of the lightsaber strike.
Right.
You just kind of know he basically cut him in half.
Yeah.
But in that moment, he grabs him and he knows, this isn't your fault, right? This hate that you have for me was, I get it.
It was manufactured in you.
For sure. But at the same time, he knows that, and Maul says it, he's like, or thinks it, he knows you're not just some desert rat. You're on the most important assignment in the history of the Jedi. This outpost, this desert rat that you're living like is a disguise. And he realizes it in that moment as he's dying.
Yeah.
And all of I guess he gets clarity. And I think that's why that's my favorite moment.
Yeah.
Is because even filled with all that rage and hate, at the end, he realizes that this is how we win. Your enemy is my enemy, which makes you, in the end, my friend. And so, for me, that's my favorite. If we're going runners up, for me, Ahsoka, Vader on Malachor, I am no Jedi. I watch that scene all the time.
Yeah.
Because to me, that is just for him to say, well, that's not the Jedi way. It's like, you of all people should know, I am no Jedi.
Yeah.
You were my master. You should know that. And her just saying that to him one last time before they go into, fisticuffs.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really, for me, that one gets me every time. Just her saying that, igniting those white sabers and saying, all right, let's go to battle, because I think I'm better than you now because you're limited and I'm not.
Right. Yeah, it's a good follow-up moment. I'm shocked Ahsoka made it into your top two there. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
that's out of the blue.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what I was saying about my favorite one is that totally disconnected from my favorite characters. I love Kenobi and I love Maul.
Yeah.
But that scene for me envelops what the Clone Wars was really about.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
We all got played.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody did, which kind of forays into exactly where my top one lands, because it's something that fluctuates so consistently, because not only is there new content coming out, but as you read more stuff, different things intersect. And right now, I think my top favorite moment is actually Sidious telling Anakin who he is. Not so much in the movie, but actually in the novelization. Just because even in Plagueis, like you've been reading, he's always talking about how he wants to reveal himself. He was having fun playing as this other guy, and he loved living the double life, but more than anything, he really wanted to show who he truly was, because he was sick of acting like this weak little punk when he really was the Dark Lord of the Sith, you know. And I won't spoil anything for you in terms of the book, but when he lets his flag fly, he lets his freak flag fly and really gets down and gets nasty. Sidious is a gnarly dude, like ripping hearts out and eating them kind of gnarly guy. So I just think when he reveals himself to Anakin in that moment, it's like he's everything hinges on that one moment. Everything in Star Wars hinges on that one moment right there. Because if Anakin cuts his head off, it's a whole different story than if he, takes him as an apprentice. That's the pivotal moment.
Is that the correlation? Now, is that connection in the book leading to that scene in the Chancellor's office where he tells him?
Say that again.
Is the scene from Plagueis? Does that scene connect to the scene where Palpatine tells him he's the Dark Lord? No.
So I mean, the kind of like the first time he does it in Plagueis, but I'm talking about the Revenge of the Sith novelization when he does it there.
Copy.
Yeah. But I mean, it's kind of nice backing it up with the Plagueis novel, seeing him as like a young Sith Lord compared to now he's killed Plagueis. He's totally on his own path, and now he's revealing himself to his new apprentice.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely one. Number two it's a toss-up between, and controversial opinion, I love me some Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Yes.
It's going to be either the lightsaber duel on Naboo or the pod racing scene.
Yep.
And people hate on that pod racing scene. If you have not seen it yet, anybody who's watching, go to Darth Daddy-O's show over there and watch two Star Wars nerds talking about the sound design and the pod racing. It's beautiful. It's just, there was nothing like that before, and I think it was kind of like, what Lucas did with the first one. That was some seriously next generation 4D chess stuff that they were doing with that scene, and it just still gets me pumped. I think about being a kid and playing the N64 and playing the pod racing game, and just the sounds of it, and Sebulba's engines, go 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 right behind you as you're, I don't know, it just gets my juices flowing, man.
Dude, and what's so cool about that, like, our video didn't even do it full justice, because if you listen to the commentary on a Phantom Menace, when they're talking about it, the whole time they're just geeking out during that scene. And man, what's so cool about that, I love just the whole direction they took with music, the direction to actually remove music from that whole scene.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or lack thereof.
Yeah, it just makes it so intense. And then so we have a almost 9-month-old son now, and so I'm thinking about him growing up, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, well, this is crazy, man. I didn't really, as a kid, I was like, yeah, this is cool, and as a teenager rewatching it, I'm like, this is a 9-year-old boy in this death race.
Yeah.
And it's because I was, oh man, I mean, I was born in 92, so I was 7 when that came out. So in theaters, I was like, yes, pod race, of course. And
with the Dolby sound going on everywhere and just shaking your body.
Yeah. And now almost 30, I'm like, who let that 9-year-old in the pod racer racing like that, And it's just so crazy. When we were rewatching Phantom Menace, I'm like, there's literally so many things that could have gone wrong to completely derail the whole story.
Right.
And so much had to go right, man.
Well, I mean, even in the, with Plagueis wanting to meet Anakin, I mean, if that conversation had happened, would that have been his new apprentice?
Right.
Right. Had that meeting actually happened, Palpatine may not have had a chance to get him. So I mean, I think a lot of the little things in Phantom Menace, all things had to work out perfectly for things to go the way they did. So he loses the race, he's stuck there. They're all stuck there. I mean, the racer doesn't start. Whatever. I mean, there's so many things. All things had to go perfectly for this iteration to happen.
It was the will of the Force. Like,
Yeah.
what if Ben Quadranero's power coupling failed and it just took out Anakin?
Right. Yeah.
Game over.
Game
And it's
over.
like written
Roll
and
credits,
directed
George
by George
Lucas,
Lucas.
yeah.
Roll credits.
Oh man.
Right. I mean, you got to think. I mean, all of that. I mean, with Anakin, I mean, you're talking about what, a good 10 years. Well, I mean, how long did it take after Phantom Menace for Plagueis to kill, or for Palpatine to kill Plagueis?
It was basically like 3/4 of the way through the movie, I believe. Or yeah. It would have been about 3/4 of the way through the movie that he killed Plagueis.
Through which movie? Phantom Menace?
Phantom Menace, yeah.
He killed him before the end of, before he tells Anakin, "We're watching your career with great anticipation."
Great interest.
With that
Yes.
that scene, he had just killed his master.
It wasn't just. I'm trying to remember.
I talk about
week
just
ago.
like in a year. Like, I mean,
Yeah. It was not. It was not a like a huge separation of time.
right. So right then, even he's thinking. Well, obviously, he felt his force ability then.
Oh, you know what though? Actually, okay. So when Anakin blew up the droid control ship, Plagueis was still around and had heard about it, and he said, the boy's actions already echo throughout the Force and are changing history. You know what I mean? So he was still around for that.
So it might have been after the Naboo party, so to speak. So he was.
Yeah,
so
it might have been
taken by Ben Kenobi at that point as an apprentice. So so that's what I mean. I mean.
Oh yeah, he had actually. Yeah, he'd already gone to the temple, and Plagueis was trying to grab him. Plagueis was trying to grab him at the temple. Yeah.
Right. He tried to get him before he went to the council, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, I mean, even right there, had he grabbed him on Coruscant, end credits.
Game over.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, and a lot of people say like convenient. Oh, that's really convenient that happened. That's convenient that this happened. But I mean, go throughout your day and imagine if you changed one thing, what could have happened? It's just how life works. So I try not to look into it that much.
Right place, right time.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite ones. Somebody just threw up in the chat. Go ahead.
I love that you pulled this up because we just finished Attack of the Clones just the other day. And Anakin actually says in this when he's talking to Padme, because essentially we're going to make a video about is the romance section of Attack of the Clones, is it really cheesy? Like, kind of a big criticism. But in that scene, Anakin says that Obi-Wan's like the closest thing he has to a father. And then thinking of episode 3, when Obi's basically like, you were my brother. Like, the more and more I watch the prequels, like my heart breaks for Anakin because I'm like he didn't have a dad. He was a slave. All the stuff he got thrown into, and then you see him change over the course of 10 years. If you're just looking at movies even, he changes over the course of 10 years by Attack of the Clones. He views Obi as his father, basically. And that
which Obi-Wan does not. He doesn't have that same level of attachment that Anakin does.
Exactly,
well,
and
he does say he loves him though.
Yeah,
but he was just becoming a Jedi, also though. Like that's the thing is Qui-Gon had been offered a seat on the council. Qui-Gon had other apprentices. Qui-Gon had been a Jedi Knight for many years. It's similar to what happened with Anakin and Ahsoka. You gave a young Jedi a young apprentice, right?
Right.
The same thing happened with Anakin. Was that a smart move to put those two together? A 14-year-old getting led around by a 19-year-old, and what? Obi was 22, somewhere like that when he took when he was knighted in Phantom Menace.
I think it was somewhere. I don't know exactly. It was like 22 to 25 or something like that.
Well, and it was said that he was Qui-Gon's apprentice far longer than Anakin was Ben Kenobi's, right?
Yeah.
So you gave a puppy.
Yeah.
Right. And then he needed that. I mean, it's even been said he needed that father, that Qui-Gon father figure, not a brother.
Yeah.
And that's something that they touch on too in Master and Apprentice, which I'm working on right now. One of the main characters that's in it, I think he was 5 when he was initiated in, and even then his attachments to home completely formed who he was as a Jedi, as opposed to Kenobi, who's like, why does this person act this way? Because the Order is the only thing he's ever known since he was an infant. He's indoctrinated, as you might say.
Well, and that's why, I mean, Anakin coming in as a 9-year-old, that's why the council was saying it. You're too old to train. I mean, it's funny how Yoda mimics the same statements with Luke as Anakin, right? When Luke comes to Dagobah, it's the same thing. He's too old. I can't train him. He's too old. They said the same thing about Anakin. So those parallels are fantastic. And the fact that Yoda is saying it for both father and son, he understands if you're not a youngling, you're harder to train.
Right. And Luke was what, like 19, 20 when he went to Dagobah the first time? It was like 19, 22, and then 25 or something like that. I have a tough time remembering.
Well, I mean, 19 to 20, because he didn't hit Dagobah till Empire, and he was 19 when he left Tatooine. So, 20.
It's old.
He's old. Boomer.
He's a friggin'
Could have been on the Boomer Council.
Luke's a boomer. We got to get him in here. See if we can get.
You know what's funny? John C. said, "I just never want to see Anakin cutting fruit with his Jedi powers ever again." I had to put
that up there.
Yeah, and he gives Padme the butt end of a pear.
I know. He didn't even give her the right part.
And she just, that was such like full fair criticism. I love the prequels, but that scene, I was like, this is awkward.
Well,
I do like cringeworthy stuff in there.
I do like that scene of them on Coruscant where he's levitating the ball, and he's talking about how lucky he is, and even at that point, he was already frustrated because he felt like he was already beyond everybody. My powers are I'm ready for the trials. He's holding me back.
Right.
That attitude was always with him, and then. But he does say, well, I'm lucky to have him because he's as wise as Master Yoda and as strong as Master Windu. Like, those are two pretty big shoes to compare your master to.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the strongest of each in each aspect.
But he knows it, and he knows that he's fortunate. But it's puppies training puppies. Like, I think that was the ultimate downfall. Give him to.
Well, and interesting too, because Kenobi's such an interesting master, because you see him interacting with Qui-Gon Jinn and how he thinks of himself, and then even in the novelization for Revenge of the Sith, when they're like, "You should go kill Grievous," and he goes, "Why? There are so many other masters who are better fighters than me," and they go, "No, you are the master of your form. You're the only master of that form."
What is that?
And he's like, "I have no idea what the heck you're talking about."
I think it's Form 3, right?
Sorcew.
That was Kenobi's.
Yeah, all defense.
All.
If I'm wrong, hit me in the chat.
I think it was, because I think that's the droid. That's the droid defense, as well as the pairing other saber style.
Blaster deflection and defense. Yeah.
Which is perfect for a Grievous. Yeah. I mean, he's a fucking droid. I'm sorry, I dropped the
yeah. That's okay.
Droid. He's just a symbiotic droid.
Yeah. And it's cool. He's the most Jedi, man. When you read about the way he fights and stuff, he just completely lets go, and he just becomes the Force, and stuff just happens around him, and then it's over, and he's like, ha.
Well, and I don't remember where they said it, but they were saying that I don't remember book or movie, but they were talking about how Anakin and Obi-Wan were together the perfect swordsman.
Right.
Like, they were the right and left arm of the body. And that's why their fight was so epic, because they knew everything. They did everything almost at the same time. Anakin tried a move on Kenobi that he had probably done 1,000,000 times, and none of it works. Like, that's why that fight was so epic.
Right, that's what I was going to say. That Mustafar fight, people are like, it dragged on way too long, and why are they swinging sabers at each other and nothing's happening? It's because they're the same.
The right and left.
They know everything about each other.
Well, not to mention, like, how would two grandmasters at chess? How long would they play? Right. That's literally what's happening here. You have two grandmaster swordsmen that taught one another and grew with one another, fighting each other. Like that's two
Right.
grandmasters of chess. That could have lasted so much longer had the earth not been falling apart around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Even
had
on
that been on Coruscant, that fight would have lasted days.
yeah, even on
What's up,
Obi's
Daddy-O?
form, like Obsession, your favorite scene. I think it's Sam Witwer who actually talked about it. But basically, when Maul takes a position, like all these like little movements, these like counter positions, and so it seems like in contrast, it seems like maybe a boring fight because you're like there's so much theatrics to Obi-Wan and Anakin, but then Obi-Wan and Maul, it's this back and forth of I know what you're going to do here, so I'm going to get this position. And you see exactly what you're talking about. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. And that's why it was just, I don't know. It was, I think it's Sam Witwer who talks about it, but it's just, it's beautifully done.
It was
Yeah.
Whitworth. And I mean, and I think we're going to see some of this in Kenobi. I think we're going to see him meditating on that fight over and over and over again through his exile on Tatooine, right? He has nothing to do but think about the past, right? And so how many times did that memory of his master getting slayed while he's behind a wraith shield or a shield, I don't know if it's a wraith shield, but a shield, not able to get there? How many times do you watch your master get hit in the face with a double-bladed saber and then twist and impaled? Right. And so that's why
that's an interesting aspect about Kenobi, though, is that he's so Jedi. He wants to live in the moment, and dwelling on the past like that is so not Kenobi. That could be a really interesting emotional take on his character when he is in isolation like that, where he doesn't have something else to focus on. Does he start to dwell?
I think absolutely. I think in Kenobi, we're going to see a lot of Ben by a campfire or in a cave thinking about the Anakin duel, thinking about missions with Anakin,
looking at Hollows of Cara Dune.
But then also going through all of those fights in your head, would my master have been a better teacher for Anakin, and then replaying that death scene. And I think that's why he was so prepared for Maul.
This is a good question for Dark Daddy-O there. You want to take this one?
Yeah. I was reading it in the chat. At first, I was like, this feels like how much wood could a woodchuck chuck,
You're right.
But Dooku owned Obi, but Anakin owned Dooku, so how could Obi not get owned by Anakin? And, just watching this, I was looking into it, and I think in context, too, the Sith hadn't been seen for a millennium, and all of a sudden Maul comes out, and I think what Obsession said is right, because you see that Obi dwells, because by the time episode 3 rolls around, the same move, basically that same flip move that ended up just causing a whole bunch of chaos with Maul, like you see him counter it with Anakin. So I'm assuming he's just dwelling on this move he's seen. And so Dooku, outside of a very different fighting style with Maul, I think you see just a lot more finesse, a lot less aggression. You have Force Lightning. You have him thinking about Anakin and probably thinking about Qui-Gon, because Anakin, he's just running in, like going crazy. And so I think really just Obi was just taken out of his element. I think honestly Dooku just got the better hand in that. And then I think exactly what Obsession said. It's just that dwelling and that thinking of, I don't want that to happen again. And he's just pondering that. That's my take.
There's also, these are different time frames too, though. Like when Dooku, Obi does get smacked by Dooku both times, but I don't know. To me, I think it's more the fact that Obi and Anakin are so familiar with each other's styles that plays such an important role in it. Because if I hate to keep bringing it up, but the Revenge of the Sith novelization, when they go to fight Dooku, he's having the time of his life when they start the fight. He's like, this is easy, this is simple, this is like absolutely nothing. And then halfway through the fight, the two of them change completely. And Dooku starts sweating big time because their forms change, everything they're doing changes, and they do it at the exact same time. So they're extremely familiar with each other in combat. Master and apprentice working as one. And master and master at that point, but I mean, they've been fighting together for so long at that point. They know each other perfectly. So it's like having, your best friend that you've talked about the same conversation 10,000 times. And then now you have to turn and talk to each other about it. You already know exactly what everybody's going to say at every single stanza. And every moment, you know exactly what that person's going to say. And I think that's why that happened.
Now, was that the Attack of the Clones? Not was that
No. That's the when they get him on Grievous's ship.
Oh. Well, and see, that's exactly kind of what I was saying earlier, is that the first time they encounter Dooku is on Geonosis, and Obi-Wan says together, and of course,
right.
Anakin has to be Anakin. Tries to take him himself. Doesn't know nothing about the Force, really. Doesn't even probably know there's Force lightning, right? I mean, he's still a pup. He's still a pup.
Yeah.
So he gets Force lightning in the corner and then gets his arm chopped off. So I'm sure he went through that battle in his training over and over again also, because even with 2 sabers he got owned. But then when they face him on the Chancellor's ship or on Grievous's ship, that's the peak of, I mean, that they had just come off that Clone Wars battle where you see Obi-Wan hiding with Cody, and Anakin's just dodging blaster bolts, not even hiding, standing on, because he is at the peak of his power at that point. That's probably the most
powers have doubled since the last time they met,
and literally they did. I mean, even since the last time I think they saw each other before that was on the Pike planet, if I'm not mistaken, where Dooku ran away, and Anakin.
They were chasing after Sifo Dyas, right? They were chasing the ghost of Sifo, basically. Yeah,
and that's when they found out that he was Tyrannus. But that was the last time they fought before Grievous's ship, and his power easily had doubled since then. He was at the peak of his performance. Yep. The question is, had Obi-Wan not got knocked out, how does that change that fight? Beep. Right? Yeah, I had to censor myself. How did that change? Because if Obi-Wan's in the corner telling him no, it changes that whole scene.
Are you talking about when he's about to assassinate Dooku?
Mm-hmm.
If interesting take. Darth Daddy, what do you think, man? What do you think would have happened there? Do you think Palpatine would have said it?
I don't know. I think that's actually a good thing I haven't thought too much about. I think I don't know. I think he would have actually gone. I don't know if he would have, because I think he was so meticulous to get to the point of pushing Anakin over. I don't think he would have let Obi being conscious throw that off. I think his priority would be like isolate Anakin, like let me just speak to him. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
You literally hit that nail on the head perfectly. So right before they walk into that room, Sidious and Dooku are talking, and he basically states it outright. Obi-Wan's got to go. We have to get Anakin. Don't kill him. Just get him to the point where we can trap him. And then when things go the way they do, and Sidious says, kill him, Dooku's thinking about everything that he's done in his entire life, and it's all wasted. He got played. Everything he's ever done, his ego, his hubris, being the Count, everything, leaving the Jedi Order, it's all for nothing because he got played. And the last thing he thinks before he dies is treachery is the way of the Sith. Well, that was a heavy moment.
And didn't they have a full-blown conversation, Dooku and Sidious, saying if Anakin gets the upper hand, you're going to stop him, right?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, of course I'm going to stop. I'm not going to let it kill you.
Yeah, but Dooku also had the ego where he never thought that was an issue. Like I said, when they first started fighting, he's like, this is fun. This is easy. I'll have this done in no time. And he was enjoying it. Okay, we got off track, which is good. I swear to God, we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
Because it just forays from subject into subject into subject, and it just keeps going. That's what I freaking love about Star Wars. But The next one we did want to talk about, and it's something I did want to hit on because we're leeching into some time. I do want to get to the drop-ins, pop-ins, whatever you want to call them. Something I did want to talk about, and it's always controversial, but the divide in the fan base as of right now. What do you guys think? Where are we at compared to where we were 6 months ago, a year ago, and where do you see this going?
Say that again. I totally got distracted.
He's never coming on here again.
I was reading the chat. I was reading the chat, and I was like, Solonic threw me with his green is the way.
Yeah, he's going to be in there all night, every night doing that. So we're looking at the Star Wars fandom. Obviously, we're divided. Maybe not as much as we used to be. Maybe more than ever. I mean, where do we see ourselves in 6 months, and how is that compared to how we were a year ago, or when the prequels came out, or whatever the case may be? It's just kind of what's the state of the fandom right now in your eyes?
Yeah. So for me, obviously, so I'm, like I said, I'm 29 years old, almost 30. So I was kind of shielded from the prequels, like the hate surrounding it, because for me, I was already watching Star Wars as a kid, and so it was like pure fantasy in my mind. Like, this is amazing. So for me, I didn't really hear negativity about the prequels till I was a teenager. But speaking on the fandom right now, I feel like I can speak a little more into that, because everything else is just kind of history to me. But for the fandom right now, so when my wife, the better half of our channel, when she was pregnant, we're watching Star Wars a lot, and she gave birth, and she's on maternity leave, I'm on paternity leave. That's when we really started like jumping into Star Wars YouTube deep dive, because all of a sudden, like, we have a whole lot of nothing to do and just a little baby sleeping all the time. And then we found out like we knew that there was a lot of division and anger, but then to see just how wide that chasm was really crazy. And it was like, it was all about the sequels. Like, where do you land on this? And that determines whether or not we can talk. That determines whether or not we can see eye to eye on things.
Super
whether
polarized.
We can have discourse. And I honestly think The Mandalorian had a big shift on that. It brought a lot of people together. Not saying everybody loved it. And then I think right now, I think that was really helpful, because I think Bad Batch is starting to do that again. Like, even in your Discord, X-Wing, Obsession and I aren't really agreeing on Bad Batch, and that's okay. Like, we're having a discourse about it, and we're just like, yeah, we see things differently, but we both, at the end of the day, we both just want good Star Wars content. And
I have not heard it. Do you guys want to talk about it? Because I haven't seen it in the Discord. Is it in the DMs, or is this in open ground?
It was nothing major. It was just like, it was mainly the last stream too. It was like, it wasn't like I'm losing interest and I don't want to speak for Obsession. I feel like his interest is going up. And so it was just that discussion of why that is. But I think when we're talking about where things were 6 months ago, a year ago, I think that kind of a conversation would be a lot more crazy and would be a lot more heated and would cause people to not want to talk to each other and get into the whole, like, you're this ism, you're this ist, and it just gets really wild really quickly.
I don't really subscribe to one or the other. Yeah. I pretty much take Star Wars for what it is, and for me, I take lessons from it. I enjoy all of it. I don't the prequels, the sequels, they're all the same bucket. Really, I do feel a little frustrated with the lack of direction, considering this IP has had great direction for the most part throughout most of it. Now, I do think that if George had his hands on the reins through the sequels, it would have been a much different conversation.
No.
Where we go?
Fan base divide.
Well,
Don't worry, we're gonna do a Boomer Council on prequels versus sequels. Trust me, it's already in the works. I promise.
I think that holds to it is that we see the movies for a time period also. So I think that's part of the divide, right? The older Star Wars fans that were original trilogy fans that were there at the openings that are a good 10 years older than me,
right?
They have a totally different interpretation of Star Wars than we do. We also have had so much more content to base our decisions on. So I feel like the divide, because George got to go back and do more of Clone Wars and got to do and they did Rebels and they did season 7 of Clone Wars and fixed a couple loopholes. I feel like that brought a little bit, and Mandalorian and all the stuff they're doing now, a couple people are more willing to have dialogue opposed to the hate. But there's still a lot of division on which is better. I don't look at it like that. I love it all. I'm not gonna crap on somebody for, oh, you like the sequels, you suck. That's, to me, that's kind of that's defeats the purpose of Star Wars.
Right.
It's a very way to look at things.
And you know, I think what's happening, I think you made a passing reference to this, the movies being a product of the times. I think a lot of what's happening in the fan base is just in culture. I don't think it's exclusive to Star Wars. I think there's a lot of people where honestly things like, I'm just thinking about the way I grew up and things that happened in like elementary school, middle school, where it's like if that happened now, like I work with teenagers like as my job. And so it's like the stuff they go through is totally different. I can't talk to them how I would talk to myself as a teenager. And there's a lot of commonalities, but a lot of things now, people's identities are attached to things that they like. And there's a lot of other stuff. So when you question something, you say, I don't agree with that. I don't see that. It goes beyond like, if I just said, hey, I don't like red LED lights. X would be like, okay, whatever. I really don't care. I love them. Right. But I think what's happened in culture is people will take that and they'll internalize it. And it's like I'm saying, I don't like you as a person. Like definitively, there's no redemption for you. I don't like you. When in all reality, I don't want to say we have to toughen up, but we have to learn to disassociate entertainment and escapism from who we are as people. Because if somebody's like, I don't like Ewoks, you know, and that like makes you think that they're, you know, a lot of words that I don't want to say just because it's an algorithm. But if it makes you think that they're the worst people in the world, I think you have to do some self-reflection and be like, why did that trigger me? What wound did that rub up against?
Right.
Because it shouldn't do that.
And I totally agree there. So that's something that I think that's most important, and something that we definitely strive to do with the X-Wing community is disassociation between escapism and real life. It's the whole point of escapism is to escape. And I think more and more and more and more, we're kind of bringing ourselves and our personal baggage and our drama into that escapism and then pushing that on other people, when it's so much more fun to just sit and talk about how good the stuff was that we saw, how much we love it, what we loved about it, or if we didn't like it, what we didn't like about it, and be able to talk about it without getting into each other's personal lives or putting our personal experiences into it, which is a slippery slope, because the reason that we associate and we love so much these stories is because we see so much of ourselves, or we always associate ourselves with a certain, you know, character or whatever the case may be with the movies. So it's a fine line for sure.
Yeah. Well, but it's also stuff that people take. I like we were talking about the other day in the voice chat. I throw stones at everyone and at everything, right? Like I call them how I see them. I call balls and strikes. I don't put a lot of toxicity behind it. This is just me, right? Like I can't not see your point of view always, but when it comes to Star Wars, I can always see your point of view, because it's Star Wars. It's not something to be toxic over. Like I don't really understand the toxicity. Like, yeah, okay, you can disagree, but like all the hate that a lot of these guys get, I mean, it's opinion based. Unless you're George Lucas, you don't really have a hat in the circle. So
Right.
enjoy what he's giving you, enjoy what they're giving you. We may not agree on the how it pans out, but that's all we're gonna get. Your opinion means something to you, but to them it means dick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean,
Jetstar
really,
brings up a good point right here with this comment. I feel like we're all, this is like the calm before the storm as we wait for Kenobi. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to talk about when Kenobi comes out. That's a real big one.
well, that's kind of what I was
Yeah.
saying about Disney for the next 2 years. Like next year is going
Right.
to be a huge year for Star Wars. If this is
Yeah.
Marvel's year, which I'm kind of giving it to Marvel, with the way that they're releasing their stuff, you had Falcon and the Winter Soldier into Loki, into Black Widow, into. Now, Star Wars is going to have that in 22.
Right.
In 22 is going to be the year for Star Wars with
Yo, what's up?
Kenobi, with Ahsoka. All of that stuff is going to be and then Celebration. I mean, so that might be the biggest Star Wars celebration they're ever going to have.
Yeah. This is a big one. This was the goose that they were waiting for. They've been petting this goose for years and they're waiting to drop it. I think this is what they originally intended to do with Star Wars, but they got rushed by investors so hard, like get me my money back, that they dropped that stuff and it just didn't go well. And now they're like, okay, we're going to try to do it right this time.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's weary.
Yep.
That's because there's
A
a
lot
of
of people are wearied.
That's because there's so many suits involved. It's not just
Yeah.
it's not just George, Dave, and John out there creating stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot more suits involved right now, and that's where people are getting nervous because of the way that the suits handled some parts of the sequels. Right. That's why people are a little worried. And Solo and all the other stuff they've done the past 5 years or so. Like that's why people are nervous because a lot of people don't like what they did.
What's going on, T-Money? Spider-Man, it's not even Aiden anymore. How you doing, man? Welcome. Welcome
good.
to the stream. How you guys doing tonight?
And
How's everyone's night going?
Oh,
doing awesome.
we're enjoying. It's the first ever Boomer Council. I mean, what else would I want to be doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you guys have anything you want to throw in? I mean, we're kind of talking about the fan base and division and everything like that right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, once we do get Kenobi and a lot of these other shows that, things will start to turn up. I know if Kenobi doesn't do well, I don't know. There's gonna be
Don't talk about that, man.
Yeah. But I have faith. I have faith it's gonna be good and that it's gonna be some of the best Star Wars since, Revenge of the Sith.
Well, yeah, as Ewan and Hayden.
yeah.
So it's automatically like up there.
I felt worried when I saw that Filoni left. I felt somewhat placated when we got he got promoted and now it's actually a real thing, because I was thinking he only got off of it because now he's got scheduling issues and other things that he has to look at, but he's just being removed from the title for Kenobi, but still a consultant for it. I guess that's what I'm thinking.
I also
Yeah,
think
that
he's
makes
busy with
sense.
Ahsoka. I think that Kenobi's already been written, the script's out, the actors are in place, they're shooting content, all he's
Right.
getting is dailies. But I think he's in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get Ahsoka off the ground. Right? Like
Right.
really, I think that's his focus because he knows that's his story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not one of George's, really. I mean, he's involved, but like that's his story.
Ahsoka is Dave's baby.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think he's getting dailies and he's involved in Kenobi and everything else that's going on. But I really feel like he is in the lab, sitting there figuring out how he's going to make Rosario kick butt for 12 episodes, right? And while figuring out, do they go get Ezra? Like, there's a lot for him to figure out which direction he's going to go.
I don't think there's any way Ezra doesn't show up.
He has to.
Yeah.
It just depends.
Daddy, what do you think, man?
For Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what's hard, the only word that was coming to mind was subvert expectations, but in a good way. I'm not even trying to go there, but in a good way, Dave Filoni does that because you don't always know where he's going. He gives you enough of what you want, but then he also throws those curveballs where you're like, I did not see that coming. So everybody who's watched Clone Wars and Rebels is like Ezra and Thrawn. They are coming in. But at the end of the day, this is Ahsoka's show.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot to fill in, and there's a lot to really expand upon. And so I wouldn't be surprised, like Obsession said, if you're looking at Disney. Because, I mean, here's what I have to keep thinking. This isn't George. And so it's not George saying, I'm going to do whatever I want. This is Disney. And Disney has the MCU, and that was crazy successful. And I would not be surprised if they took that direction and said, hey, we're going to drop in Thrawn and Ezra a little bit, but we want them to get their own show, even if it's a spin-off.
Right.
So I think there may, and Filoni's the arc master, so I feel like there may be an arc about that. But I think overall it's going to be Dave Filoni, like Obsession said, literally sitting down and writing his dream story. He's not going to be pulling anything from Legends. He's not going to be carrying Luke's story forward. He's going to say, this is Ahsoka. And I think even with what Darth Wevin said, I think look at Mandalorian, and that was a catalyst for Book of Boba.
Yeah.
Right.
I think in the same way, I think we're going to get
And
a
Ahsoka,
stupid amount of shows like that. Yeah.
I think without Mandalorian, you don't have a platform for Ahsoka, because the people needed to see her done right in live action before they would sign on to, as a fan base, before they'd sign on to really, I think, a live action of just her.
Which, how about that moment, by the way? Talk about subverting expectations. We're like, we might see Ahsoka in that episode. And then the episode starts and two white lightsabers show up, and you're just like, what? Right off the bat, man.
I really feel like he's going to pull a lot of it from the E.K. Johnson novel. I think we're going to see the lightsaber creation. I think we're going to see the Inquisitor that was chasing her. I hope we get to see my favorite scene of her exploding the Inquisitor lightsaber and not even needing to meditate on her crystals. The second they touch her skin, they go white. Right? They're healed by her touch. Like, that's the scene I need to see. I need to see that scene as an Ahsoka fan, junkie, if you will. That's the scene I need to see. I need to see junkie. I need to see her power those sabers on for the first time. You know, I want to see that Bail Organa conversation of, you know, her explaining why they're white and how they used to be red. That's the stuff I got to see. And I'm hoping that Dave is going to take some of the stuff from the novel and we get a little bit of background before she becomes Fulcrum.
I feel like that's something we haven't gotten really on video at all, and it's something I would really like to see is more about Kybers, more about lightsaber creation, tuning your Kyber crystals, all the stuff that goes along with that, I think would be cool to see. Dark Daddy, who do you want to see in live action create his saber? Or her?
For Ahsoka, or just in general see somebody create a saber?
In general, yeah, like which Jedi or Sith?
Oh, I have an idea, but
go for it while I'm thinking, man.
Give him. He's still looking at the menu.
I know. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I know in one stream I kind of talked about how disappointed I was with, you know, the handle of Finn. What if we saw Finn create his own lightsaber and him doing that? That'd be. Is
he force sensitive?
Yep. I mean,
think so.
Yeah, it was at the end of Rise of Skywalker. It seemed pretty hinted at it, and then the Lego Holiday Special, like he was Jedi training. So.
Right. Yeah, there was that part.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna really see that story for a while, but if we did ever see that, it'd be really cool to see that in live action with John Boyega. But
Aiden, it seems like you were itching to throw something out there.
I was just saying, can you give me like 5 seconds? I really got to go refill my water bottle real quickly.
Yeah, you're good, bro.
Do it.
I was just gonna turn off my camera, mute my mic. I'll be right back.
Do it.
Yeah. So I think for me, I I would love to see Yoda. I think.
Mm.
I think that would be really
Ooh,
cool.
That would be
Just
legit.
because of his age.
that's cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Little Micro
That's
Machines lightsaber.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was such like a missed opportunity though. Like, why didn't the sequels show like Rey's construction of the lightsaber? Like that would have been cool to see, but I don't know. We've talked a
I
lot.
feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities,
Yeah.
unfortunately, in the sequels. Just
Yeah.
because there was so much damage control on after Force Awakens, and I'm not
Mhm.
even talking about the prequels versus sequels. I'm just saying I think
Yeah.
because JJ and then Ryan and then JJ, I
Mhm.
think they were, JJ was trying to fix.
There was a bit of a pissing contest there.
Right. There was a measuring
Oh,
contest for sure. And I think that's where all the missed opportunities came from.
Yeah.
Had they had one guy doing the whole shabizzle, I think
Mhm.
we would have seen more of that stuff because there would have been more time. But I
And
think they had to,
with sitting in his lab, writing in his notebook about this giant arc that he's going to have. If we'd have had that, I think it would have been a different. I think it would have been a different story and differently received.
Mhm.
to your lightsaber question, I wish they would have done the Luke building.
Mm,
Jedi.
Yeah.
I wish we would have got that scene with R2. Granted, it would have ruined the R2 has the lightsaber, a big reveal,
Yeah.
right? But even him just tinkering by himself, not putting it in the droid, I think that would have gone leaps and bounds in that
would've
movie
been
to
really
show it.
cool. Mhm.
I think that's my dream deleted scene is right at the opening of Return.
No, you've seen
It's
it. Right?
Luke sitting cross-legged, and he's got his hands like this, and the saber parts are being manipulated, and the kyber's in the middle, and it all goes together, and
Have you guys seen the rumor
shows up.
that his green crystal was actually Qui-Gon's?
I believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I've seen that theory before,
I believe that.
and I
Because,
think
I like that.
Obi-Wan
Kenobi-
held on to Qui-Gon's lightsaber,
yeah.
and Luke grabbed the crystal from his hut after he passed away.
Yeah, there was the chest. Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi had a chest in his simple hut, and in that chest was just the kyber crystal. It wasn't even the whole saber.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the crystal in a small box in the bottom of the chest. And when after Luke blew up the Death Star, he went back to Tatooine, or I'm sorry, after Empire, after he lost his mitt. He goes back to Tatooine to figure out what to do next in Ben's hut, and it almost probably sings to him.
Yeah.
He has that moment of song and goes to the chest and is like, "What is this?" And
One thing that I've always wanted to see is actually Anakin building his Episode 3 lightsaber. Because that's like the Skywalker lightsaber. I thought it would have been really cool if we actually saw Anakin, the creator of it, actually build it.
What, the Youngling Slayer 9000?
Yeah, exactly.
Player 9000.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I guess that'd have to be a pre-Clone Wars like series, but post Attack the Clones.
Well, how cool would it be to see it in Kenobi? Right? Ben walks into Anakin's chamber, and Anakin is sitting there as he, from what I understand, that's what he did a lot. That's what he did with Ahsoka sabers when she was left the Order.
Yep.
It was not uncommon to walk into his quarters and see the lightsaber parts being manipulated. That would be a cool background scene in Kenobi, to just see a retro faced Hayden, or maybe even just his back sitting Indian style with all the parts and screws laid out across the room. Like they could totally do that with the volume and all that stuff. That would be the sickest scene ever.
Yeah. I kind of had some thoughts on Ahsoka if we could go back to that. Because
Obsession's ears perk up.
Yeah. I totally agree, though, is that, a lot of people are expecting, when's Ezra, when's Thrawn going to show up and stuff. But I really hope that we do get, like Ahsoka in the series. It's not just, we're just telling the story to set up Thrawn and Ezra coming back. Because I'm not the biggest fan of Rebels. I like some aspects to it, but overall, there's a lot of missed opportunities I kind of felt with that show. And while I do fully expect Ezra and Thrawn to show up, I hope it doesn't overtake like the whole series. I want to really see Rosario Dawson have her time to shine as Ahsoka, and just get more of that. So
I think it would be cool if at the end of Ahsoka season 1, she finds them.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where you see Thrawn for the first time and he says, Ahsoka. Right? And then it cuts to credits. And then the next show we get is Thrawn, where it builds all the way up to the end. And at the end of the episode, it's his perspective and they see each other. And she goes, Thrawn.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Just link
And
them
it just
up.
back and forth for like 10 seasons.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good. Let's go.
Well, I think that so I got a couple of theories, and I'm breaking those down. I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you've seen this one, X-Wing, but this is the deleted scene you're talking about.
Yeah, I have. That's
Right.
not quite what I meant.
Right.
Yeah.
But pretty close.
This is the scene I would have liked to have seen expanded, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, full build,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This would have been awesome for me.
And there's just something for me about a Jedi using the Force to manipulate all of the saber parts as it clicks together, as opposed to having, a multi-tool and he's working on it. Just like the idea of all the saber parts swirling around and then coming together. It's just like,
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you say that. I can't wait for my top secret project to start hitting the waves.
Ooh, you heard it here first.
Oh, there is something. There are phases to this little adventure that I really can't wait to start sending you guys. But I'm glad you guys like. See here, I'll even give you a. I'll give you a taste of what's coming.
Exclusive.
So this is a taste of what's coming. There's a lot more going on, but
Nice.
I got some people I'm hiring, and we're gonna hopefully by the end of the year we're gonna have something sick for you guys.
Nice.
It's gonna
Very
be
nice.
It's something I've been putting a lot of time into, recruiting animators and technicians and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. Cool. We look forward to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of big stuff in the pipeline. But speaking of big stuff, I want to take just a second and show you guys a little something. This is part of our care package that's coming this week. So these are your 4 boxes that'll be there this week. And,
Hold on, I gotta blow you up. Hold on.
I'm getting blown up. So all this stuff is going in the box tomorrow. So hopefully you'll see it. I'm probably gonna overnight it, so you'll get it Saturday or Sunday.
I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, it's okay. So there's all your
Look at all that stuff.
That's all your stuff that's coming.
Oh man,
And then we're
we're gonna be like a legit YouTube channel here in a minute.
Yeah, it's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
Wow.
It'll be awesome. So yeah, that's the stuff. That's the stuff we have coming your way tomorrow. I just got the last piece of the puzzle today, so you'll be having some fun by the end of the weekend. Hopefully, no later.
Well, thank you, man. Can't thank you
Awesome.
enough. That's
Yeah, it's
gonna
gonna be
be.
fun.
I'm gonna have to like shave and wash my face because I'm gonna be like hardcore 4K.
Oh,
Brush
that's
my
not
teeth.
bad. Look at my face. I don't shave. I don't get ready for camera. Come on.
I was gonna say for my, and it actually popped up in the chat. The one that I really want to see is Vader building his first. Mostly, I want to see him bleeding that crystal and the emotions that he puts into that crystal, and Padme and everything that happened, and his pain and everything that he pours into that crystal. I'd be really stoked to see that.
The comic book version is what you want to see. The Kid on Malachor.
I said this the other day. I have not read a single Star Wars comic ever.
Oh my god, my god,
You gotta read the Vader comic.
bro!
I would ask if you guys know like the really good ones. Drop me a list in the Discord of like which ones
I
have to
got
be
you.
read.
Darth
Have to be
Vader, the
read.
Ghost Prison, Darth Vader, the Ninth Assassin, the 2017 Darth Vader comics.
Mhm.
There's like other
But if
stuff
you want
too.
that story, bro, get the 2020 Marvel Vader.
Mr. Nerd, are you a comic guy? Do you do comics or
Me?
yeah?
I'll look at them. I'm a physical media kind of guy, and so
I'm the same way. Yeah.
I'm just like, that's a whole thing I can't sink money into, but I'll look at stuff, and I'll try and stay informed. I love what Theory does.
Yeah.
Basically letting us.
That's a
just
great
mooch
way
off
for
him.
guys like us to get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Theories
Yeah.
bringing them to life. That's
Yeah.
how his channel like really got me into all that stuff. I remember back in 2016 when I started watching him. But yeah. Anyways, I have to head out. But thank you guys for having me on again. And I'll catch
Absolutely,
you
man.
later.
Anytime.
See you, man.
See you later.
Yeah, I
T
think
Money.
we're starting to wind down a little bit. We have not talked at all to Cash. Cash, I'm interested.
Well, I don't
you've got
want
some
to
stuff to
interrupt
say.
you guys. I know how this process goes, so it's like
This is a free forum, dude. I mean, we
Is it?
all talk over each other, and yeah, there's no order of operation here.
Oh, there isn't. Okay, I just want to be excited about Star Wars again. Like after I watched The Mandalorian, it was like, oh yeah, and that Ahsoka episode. When you guys talk about Ahsoka, I'm like, hell yeah, like that's what I want
why
to
I'm
see.
here.
Like I want to see that quality stuff again. It's funny. Like after the sequels, I was like, Rogue One, yeah. As I've talked about in the Discord
I
before.
loved
but
Rogue One. Loved Rogue One. Still one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
I still love it, and it connects to Episode 4. But you guys are like talking about novels and comic books, and I'm like, I've been a big Star Wars fan since probably before even '99. I've been around a while, so.
Me too, my brother. You're not alone.
But I just like I haven't gotten into all the novels and the comic books and stuff, but like I was talking to somebody recently and I was like, why don't we see something like Kyle Katarn? Kyle Katarn is such a great character, and I would love to see somebody continue that. And I've been talking to some other people, and like, I don't know, maybe I'll start writing a script or something, because
Do it, man.
I think that might be really cool.
I think that was something that popped up on one of EBN streams yesterday, like one of their day
a few
streams.
days
I
ago
think they
or
were talking
something.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome, but I don't know. Like, there's just so many great characters, guys, and it seems to me Lucasfilm and Disney keeps wasting them. It's like, why don't you guys do this, or why don't you do this with this character, Kyle Katarn?
Give them some time, man.
one.
I think we give them some
Yeah.
time. They're going to start to figure some stuff out. As soon as money starts showing up when they make good content, it won't take long for investors to realize that this is what people want.
It would be nice,
Well, and
give
the
us good
the
quality
games are
stuff.
also
and-
a
yeah.
good intro, also.
Mhm.
So hopefully, Fallen Order 2 will give us some more on Cal Kestis and other Jedi. We'll see other Jedi like Seer and all that. But yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of characters that are underutilized in the
Yes,
Star Wars universe.
a lot. A lot. And I don't know what you guys thought about like Solo, but I thought overall like the best thing about Solo was young Lando. I thought he was like the best thing of Solo. The one who played Han Solo, I can't even think of his name now. I know Harrison Ford thought he was a good fit, but I just wasn't all that impressed. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I wrote a whole bunch of stuff. Like, there's things like I like Poe Dameron. I don't know how a lot of people feel about that character, but I thought he was interesting, and he even popped up in Resistance. And if you guys haven't watched Resistance, I highly recommend that. But I want, if you're going to give me a storyline, a love interest, or something, like, explain it. Don't just be like Zori Bliss. To me, I still go back to that, because you had this relationship with Poe Dameron and Zori Bliss, and then they don't really care about it. Oh, she's there, but we don't want to really explain it. Like, that drives me crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I want certain things to be explained. Background is always important. It always has been important in movies. It's been important in games. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for popping in. I think we're closing in. Two Star Wars nerds. You throw a hand up. You had something you want to say right there?
Yeah, I just want to say it's just funny. As these go on, we're gonna figure out like how to get both of us on. The Mr. and the Mrs. and You know, even
Yes.
before that, you know, Cash Money, I love what you said. There's so much in there where it's like, I just want to get excited about Star Wars. And let me just say this: if you're not familiar with us, my wife, she is the real Star Wars nerd, and so like if we're comparing, she is the nerd. I am like the husband, like trailing along, because you know it's so funny. She's like texting me during this, like when we're having talking points. She's like sending her thoughts and. I'm just like I don't want to steal their thunder. I'm like, dang, these are good things coming across the text, you know. But yeah, so I'm just excited for everything that's going on here because I think people have been let down. People have been missing a lot in Star Wars, and I know for EU fans, you know, they feel like they've been looked over, and so I'm gonna keep hope for the future of Star Wars, and you know. If all else fails, there's a million things we can read and look into and keep that love going. And I think we just gotta be vocal about it in a positive way and not just attack Disney, not just go at it. You know, just because I just think it's important. It's like, man, let's just talk about what we love in Star Wars, and hopefully we can just create a community where that actually shifts the tide. And that's what I'm excited for, man.
I don't think anything else needs to be said. That was kind of like the perfect outro, dude. That was so beautiful.
You can Venmo me for it later.
Okay,
I know
will,
you said
sure.
beforehand. If you close
I had
that, I'll send you
$5,000 laying around. I'll just send it your way. That was great, man. Yeah, and that encapsulates, I mean, absolutely everything we're trying to do. That's why we have these streams. That's why we get the community on, and that's what we're doing here. And obviously it's been showing up. Everybody that's talking about it, you know, we're enjoying this. We're enjoying the hell out of it. So I hope it keeps going for sure. Any parting words from all the gentlemen in the stream here?
Quality stream for sure. Learning more and more about Star Wars. So I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks so much for having me on, man.
Yeah.
I got to bounce, but you're awesome. This is a great idea. All you guys are awesome to begin with. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Like, these streams always make my day. So much fun getting to just come in. Like, I don't even need to talk. I just need to listen. I just gain like so much knowledge. It's just like I have a lot of fun. You guys are awesome. Thanks again, and peace out.
See you, man.
Thanks for coming, man.
Did she just toss you a juice box over the wall?
No.
Oh, I was about to say you have the best setup.
I know. I was going to show, this is what I grabbed, and I was going to say this. So we have one more copy of the Heart of the Jedi. Basically, if you guys don't know, just look this up. I don't want to take more time. But this is a book that it's so much of the stuff we talked about here today, I think was kind of sourced from like an early Bantam era novel that wasn't released. And, you know, obviously go subscribe to Obsession. If you're not, like, why are you not subscribed to X-Wing already? But once we hit 100 subscribers, a crazy low goal. We never thought we'd hit 25, but we're giving this copy away just because we want to. What sucked is when this came out, like a lot of people who were waiting for a physical copy way longer than I knew about it. They missed out, and so we're trying to give that away. So if you're somebody who missed out on the Heart of the Jedi and you want it, we have a giveaway. You know, like X-Wing does awesome giveaways. You know, Obsession just like pours himself out for Star Wars, and I would love to be able to like help out however I can. And this was really the Mrs. idea too. Like I said, I'm playing catch up with her. She was like, "Let's get this out there." So, yeah.
Well, awesome. On that note, real quick, I want to plug something that's not has nothing to do with me, but I just got turned on to abebooks.com. If you're looking for used books instead of having to troll around town, I literally found so many books, Star Wars books, comics, all kinds of stuff that's used. And that's where I get a lot of my stuff. I don't usually, and some of the stuff we can't even find new. But Abe Books, a lot of their books are like $3 or $4. They're not expensive at all. So if you're looking for copies of stuff, that's where I'm headed to buy a lot of this stuff because I like the physical medium, like you guys were talking about. I can read books on tablets and stuff like that, but I prefer a page to turn. So for people that don't have a lot of cash to go search around expensive thrift shops or bookstores, abebooks.com. I just discovered it today, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be in a stream. Let me mention this because I know a lot of people are like, where do I find this stuff and how do I find it? So that's the pearl that I just discovered. I just ordered 3 books today. So jump on that. As always, go check out our page. We're in the same boat as the nerds. We're basically, I think we're at 48 subs now. Didn't even think we'd hit that.
Pump those numbers. There's 19 people in here. Go sub to his channel like now. Same with 2 Star Wars nerds. Just go do it.
400 as of today. Congratulations. That's a nice solid number for the amount of time you've been doing this. Like we were talking about in the VC, you're going to be at that 1,000 within a month at this rate. So if you're not subscribed to his, you're watching this after, get in there and sub. Let's get X-Wing up to 1,000. But yeah, man, this is fun. I think that we should keep doing it. Pick your topics. I can talk about any of it. I love it all.
Get ready for Boomer Council coming to you every single week. All right, boys. I think that's going to be it.
Do it.
Awesome.
Good. All right. I think that's it from us here at X-Wing. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for showing up and being a part of the chat, talking to us, enjoying listening. Stay tuned. We're going to be back again next week. Same boys, same problems, same Star Wars. I love you guys all. Have a good night, and may the Force